guards surely would have warned the Sioux since their last visit. Then, the color on Qin Wushuan's face slightly changed. He cupped his hands in a salute. Thank you for your information. Your help today, someday I will definitely repay you. That girl finally nodded with satisfaction. Sure, sure. Just as she was considering keeping him in waiting, Qin Wushuan had already left quickly. Her pink face blushed as she stomped on the ground and said in frustration, "Wow, you are not even asking my name, how can you talk about repaying me?" Quickly thinking, she yelled, "Qin Wushuan, if you wanted to pay me back, come find me at the Redwood Martial Arts Academy." "Big brother Da Shi, I want to ask a favor from you." Qin Wushuan found Da Shiming by himself and said straightforwardly, "Why are you being so polite?" Da Shiming said with some surprise, "Okay, for tonight, big brother Da Shi, please look after my sister. Tomorrow, I will invite you to come with your grandmother and my sister to the Qin house." Would big brother Da Shi have any problem with it? No, Da Shiming immediately answered and asked, "Did something happen?" "No time for explanation. I will thank big brother when I return." Following that, he returned to Windy Pool Restaurant and whispered a few words next to his father's ear. Qin Lianzhen's expression instantly froze. He stood up quickly and cupped his hands. "Everyone, today, I am getting rather drunk. Some other day, I will set up a feast in my house. In that time, I hope you will all come." "Sure, sure, we will surely come. Brother Lianshan, Wushuan, come to visit at my place if you have time." While Qin Lianshan interacted with them, he also walked over to where the officials of the Zhenwu holy place sat. Elder Zhou immediately stood up and came over when he saw the nasty color on Qin Lianshan and Qin Wushuan's face. He whispered, "What happened?" "Elder Zhou, I heard that the Sioux will be making big moves soon. They are plotting to deal with my family. It's easy to dodge the spears in the open, but hard to avoid a stab in the dark. Us three have left a while ago from Eastwood Town. I am afraid the Sioux will cause trouble for our town in secret." Elder Zhou slightly frowned and nodded. "Indeed, you must guard it. What is your plan?" Qin Lianshan said anxiously, "We will ride back to the Qin house right now. Any delay and we will be too late." "Okay, you can go and grab 2 of my best horses. Hurry." The father and son of the Qin family did not show any courtesy and borrowed the 2 best quality horses. Then, they rushed toward their home in Eastwood Town. Although the Sioux could not deal with them, they still had the capability to cause trouble at the Qin house. The rest was easy to take care of, but the Qin's ancestor house was at their home. If the Sioux attacked and destroyed the ancestor's home, Qin Lianshan would most likely not be able to feel at peace for the rest of his life since generations of his ancestors' souls would be disturbed. "Hurry, Wushuan, quicker." Qin Lianshan rushed him. "I have a terrible feeling." Along the road, Qin Wushuan stopped a few times. Each time when he climbed down from the horse, he grabbed some dirt. He checked the dirt marks and the plants on the side. His expression became even sterner as he muttered, "A large group of people indeed went toward the direction of the Qin house. Fortunately, it has not been too long. If we travel as fast as possible, maybe we can make it." Both father and the son were very impatient. They rode as fast as possible and only wished the horse would grow wings to fly back to their home. With the tyrannical characters of the Sioux, once they decided to take revenge, they would definitely use ruthless methods worse than gnawing your heart. Right now, the Qin house was brightly lit. All the servants of the house had received the good news that the Qin had won. Under the direction of manager Qin Sixi, they were bustling with activity as they decorated the house with lights and lanterns. Although there was few members in the direct line of descent in the Qin family, they had a lot of servants. Plus, the Qin treated the servants very well despite being aristocrats. Thus, the servants followed the family with their whole heart. The whole Qin manor was bathed in a harmonious atmosphere. 9. Why is one side of these 2 large lanterns higher than the other? The left one, pull it higher a little. Yes, it must be balanced. Qin Sixi proudly directed and organized the decorations and felt very satisfied as he watched everyone being busy. He wanted to prepare everything before the patriarch returned. So when the patriarch returned, the first thing he would see would be a scene of celebration. Little 7, grab a long ladder to here. Be careful, don't touch the lanterns. Monkey 6, tomorrow morning, go buy some hanging firecrackers. Buy those that emits a bright and loud sound. When the patriarch and the family returns, we will welcome them along the way with firecrackers. Alright, Master 4, in the future, we are all servants of the wealthy class. Haha. Idiot, already, you are acting like one. Haha, Master 4, don't blame me for doing this. The world is such a cold place. Do you still remember Little Lee from the West Side Tofu Shop? I do, you have liked her for quite a while. But her mother didn't like your lower background where you had no future. What, something is going well. Monkey 6 chirped, Master 4, it's more than going well. This afternoon, Little Lee came to tell me that her mother is no longer against us seeing each other. Today, it was her mother that told her to come to find me. With a paw sound, Chin 6 said, such an opportunist, you will suffer from having such a mother-in-law. Monkey 6 laughed happily, Master 4, Little Lee is not like that, it's her mother. And I am not going to spend my days with her mother, right? Stupid reason, Chin 6 replied with a smile, for he was also happy for him. He reminded him, it's okay to be happy, but you must take care of these things first. Don't delay the celebration for the masters. Of course, without the brave performance from the patriarch and young master, we would not have our happy life. For the family, I will go through water and dive into the fire without a second to think. Just when they were lively chatting away, from afar, the sounds of numerous horse hooves came thundering down the limestone street. This sound of the hooves seemed rushed as it quickly raced toward the direction of the Chin house. The patriarch came back during the night. Monkey 6 was triumphant, then he turned worried, I still haven't brought the firecrackers, what should I do? Chin 6 was, after all, very experienced. After he had listened the sounds for a bit, he shook his head, this should not be the patriarch and his people. The hooves did not seem to be returning in victory. Then, suddenly, Chin 6's face changed, and he hurriedly called out to everyone, everyone, get inside the manor and close the door tightly. Gear up and ready the defenses, the entire house will soon be in an emergency. Quick, quick. When he said these words, people around him immediately fell into a panic. Fortunately, the Chin had trained the servants well. And since they also had guards, they immediately followed the order. Bang bang bang. The gates immediately closed, one after another. The defensive measures and traps were quickly readied. And the entire squadron of the family's guards were instantly assembled. The sound of the hoof stopped just outside the gates of the Chin house. Su Sanli had led this team himself. Besides the direct line of descent of the Su, dozens of core family guards also followed them. Su Sanli, Elder Yu, Sujo, and his two brothers were the main force in this group. Elder Yu, it seems that the Chin had already received the good news. They lit up the lanterns and decided to celebrate early. We will let them experience the so-called turning extreme joy into sorrow. Su Sanli reined in the horse's bridle and stared at the Chin house with a Chapter 1, Outer Court Disciple Night. The round moon was hanging high, and stars filled the sky. But, within the river of stars, there were 9 colored lights lingering amongst them. Chapter 1. Chapter 1 Awakening Talent and the Path of Evolution. Translator, Dragon Boat Translation Editor, Dragon Boat Translation. Chapter 1 Awakening Talent and the Path of Evolution. I'm going to awaken soon. I'm so excited. I'm looking forward to being able to awaken an awesome talent. If that's the case, I will be part of the upper class. I don't expect much. Just give me a B-grade talent and that will do. That's still being greedy. My demand isn't high, just a D-grade talent will do. The students were all discussing it excitedly in senior high class 2 at Riverdale City High School. Among the students, there were feelings of excitement, fear, anticipation, and worry. The awakening point at the age of 18 would definitely be the most crucial event in their lives. Awakening a high-level talent would mean that the person was destined to be an extraordinary person in their lifetime. However, if one were to awaken a low-level talent, that person would be destined to be part of the lower class, getting menial jobs like cleaning the streets. Without a doubt, the fate of these students would be decided today. That was why some of them were afraid. Once the talent they awakened was terrible, they would be useless for life. Everyone wants to be someone extraordinary. They all wanted nothing more than to be someone at the top of society, but the reality was often cruel. Suddenly, the class teacher walked in and stood in front of the podium. He looked at everyone with a solemn expression. Today is the most important day for all of you. This is a world where talent determines everything. Everyone's strength comes from their talent. There are 10 levels to grade a talent. The lowest and most common talent is unrated. Then there is the division from F level to SSS level. When the students heard this, their expressions hardened. They started to fear what would happen if they were to awaken an unrated talent. What would they do in the future then? An unrated talent is the lowest level of talent. Those who awaken to this talent level are no different from ordinary people. In the future, they can only do some of the most ordinary jobs. Because of the large number of unrated talents, F, E, and D level talents are considered medium level talents. The use of medium level talents is usually in the life skills professions, doing logistics, and support work. C, B, and A level talent, these three are the high level talent. Following that, the teacher's tone became excited. Those who can awaken high level talent will be the elites of the future society, the pillars of the country. In society, such people can obtain endless wealth. These words aroused the curiosity of the students. They all began to look forward to being the person who would awaken a high-level talent. Finally, there's the talent from S to SSS. This kind of person is one in a million. Once they appear, they will definitely be the country and society's treasure. Such a genius will definitely be supported with countless resources, granting them a fast track to the very top of society. The students present were all excited. Some began fantasizing about them awakening their SSS grade talent, while others imagined the scene of them being at the top of society. At this moment, Luyu raised his right hand. The form teacher looked over and said with a smile, "Student Luyu, if you have any questions, just ask." As one of the more gifted students in the class, Luyu had always been favored by the homeroom teacher. Luyu stood up and asked, "Teacher, is there any possibility of evolution to a person's talent after it awakens? If a person's original talent is inferior, does it really mean that he will be useless for the rest of his life?" This question instantly attracted the interest of the entire class. The homeroom teacher nodded slightly. "A good question. There is indeed a possibility of an evolution of a person's talent. However, it does not evolve from F to E level. Currently, there are about 10 known evolution paths, such as great strength, extreme speed, ice, fire, and so on. This path developed by our predecessors was at the cost of their own lives, and it cannot be tread lightly. Otherwise, the consequences will be severe. Not only that, if you want to evolve, you will need the corresponding materials for it. You will need to refine the materials into medicine and consume them before completing your evolution. However, these materials are either very precious or grown in dangerous areas. It is extremely difficult to obtain them." The students' faces turned grim when they heard the warning. They initially thought that if their talent was too poor, they would still have a chance to remedy it. But now, it seems that this path was a difficult one. Then, the class teacher continued with a grave expression. "Finding the materials is only the beginning. The refining process is the most crucial part. If you can't control the dosage and formula accurately, taking it may cripple you for life and damage your talent." The students gasped in shock when they heard the consequences. The ramification was even worse than awakening an unrated talent. The homeroom teacher glanced at the students and said, "I know you all have the will to become stronger. But you have to do everything within your ability. If you awaken an unrated talent, then accept your fate. If you recklessly choose to evolve, I'm afraid you will destroy yourself and ruin your family." The homeroom teacher's words were engraved in everyone's hearts. However, the homeroom teacher knew that there were people who refused to admit their defeat every year. These people were always determined to change their own fate. In the end, each of them ended worse than the last. At that moment, Luyu sat down. He was very calm for someone that was about to undergo an awakening. He was not from this world. He transmigrated here. Therefore, his awakened talent shouldn't be too bad as a transmigrated person, right? Luyu was very young when he transmigrated to this world. In this world, Luyu's parents had passed away long ago. His aunt's family had brought him up. As Luyu got older, his aunt, who had worked so hard, fell seriously ill. Luyu had been working part-time jobs outside of school to help with his aunt's medical bills. Despite that, His health illness worsened while his income remained unchanged. If this continued, the high medical bills would crush his family. But now, Lu Yu had hope. As long as he awakened an excellent talent, everything would not be a problem. Even if it were a mediocre talent, it would allow him to earn more at work. Right now, Lu Yu was just like the other students, looking forward to the awakening. Just at that moment, the homeroom teacher received a notice. He stood up and looked at the students. Students, the previous class has completed their awakening. Next, it's our turn. Everyone line up and do the awakening in an orderly manner. The homeroom teacher's words made the students present to stand up excitedly and line up. Now would be the time to decide on their future lives. Comment. 34 comments. Vote. 2 left. Send gift. Chapter 2. Chapter 2 Awakening begins. Unexpected ability. Translator. Dragon Boat Translation Editor. Dragon Boat Translation. Chapter 2 Awakening begins. Unexpected ability. The awakening ceremony begins. The homeroom teacher organized the students and walked out of the classroom to the school square. Everyone saw a large and majestic array formation when they arrived at the square. Specialized array formation mages created the unique ceremony array formation. With the help of the array formation's power, the students would carry out the awakening ceremony. The students lined up and waited expectantly for the awakening ceremony to begin. A middle-aged man walked out of the array. He stood in front of the group and swept his gaze over them. Hello, everyone. I am the host of this awakening ceremony. Please line up in an orderly manner and wait for the activation of the array. The students were deeply excited and looked fervently at the array center. I'm so nervous, the awakening is about to begin. I hope that the heavens will bless me with a slightly better talent. I heard that being the host of the awakening ceremony is extremely profitable. Of course, such an important matter like the awakening ceremony isn't something that just anyone can host. I wonder what level of talent this host has. Someone who can host such a ceremony must have a high-level talent. Lu Yu waited quietly in the crowd, ignoring the chattering around him. At the same time, he was also very curious about what level of talent this host had. When Lu Yu looked at the host, he was surprised that a floating panel appeared beside the host. What was going on? The panel showed detailed information about the host, including his talent level. As Lu Yu noticed that his classmates were still guessing the host's talent level, it seemed that only he could see this panel. Could it be that he had accidentally awakened at this instant, allowing him to see things others could not? Lu Yu didn't think much and scrutinized the host on stage. Name, Sujian. Talent, Array Mastery. Talent level, C level. The host's name was indeed Sujian. His talent seemed to be C level, which was indeed a high-level talent. Moreover, it happened to be an Array Mastery talent, which was perfect for the awakening ceremony. Lu Yu quickly looked at a classmate beside him to verify his ability. A panel appeared beside the student and reported his personal information very soon. Name, Zhang Chen. Talent, Surface Petrification. Petrification of skin. Greatly enhanced defense, granting a slight increase in strength and speed. Talent level, F level, to be awakened. Lu Yu was surprised. He didn't expect to be able to see the talent and level of an unawakened person. With this ability, he would probably be able to earn a lot of admiration by just acting as a prophet. Lu Yu looked at the next student and saw the same panel information. Name, Su Hua. Talent, Violent Force. Temporarily activating Violent Force will greatly increase speed and attack. Talent level, F level, to be awakened. Lu Yu continued to look at the next one. The same panel was displayed. Lu Yu roughly scanned through the students one by one. As expected, most of them had F-level talent or unrated talent. Those with high-grade talent could be said to be few and far between. Most importantly, some did not have any talent at all. These people's future would be miserable. At this moment, the host said, "It seems that everyone is very curious about my talent. Then I'll tell everyone. My talent level is C, and I'm proficient in array formations. That's why I'm qualified to be a host. Everyone, if you can awaken a C-level talent, you'll be a pillar of society like me." The host's words made the students extremely enthusiastic. So it turns out that one only needs C-level talent to become a successful person. They would be placed in a high position to enjoy their desired wealth. For a moment, they were filled with anticipation. The declaration made by the host, Sujian, gave Lu Yu the confirmation that his eyes weren't hallucinating. It seemed that he had activated a talent that allowed him to see the talent and level of others. The awakening ceremony begins. The students went on stage one after another to carry out the awakening ceremony. Very soon, one person walked out of the group and attracted the attention of everyone present. She was the school belle of senior year class 2, Suche. She wore a white one-piece dress, and her long, black, and luscious hair fluttered in the wind. Her snowy white skin tempted endless thoughts, and her gorgeous facial features intoxicated everyone present. Under everyone's gaze, Suching walked into the array. When the awakening ceremony began, the students were all discussing her spiritedly. Suching is so beautiful. If only she were my wife. What are you thinking about? Not only is she from a wealthy family, with a beautiful appearance and figure, even her academic and sports results are top-notch. That's right. Since she is so outstanding, I reckon that we won't have a chance. That might not be the case. What if she awakens an unrated talent? Won't we have a chance then? Tisk, you impudent toad. Very soon, Suching walked out of the array formation. Suching's expression was unperturbed. It wasn't possible to tell if the outcome was good or bad. Following that, the host announced loudly. Awakened, Suching. The awakened talent is the holy light of healing. The talent level is an A. The moment these words were said, the entire place was in an uproar. Whoa, an actual A-level talent. This is too ridiculous. An A-level talent. There aren't many in the entire school. Her future is bright. Sheesh, I've given up completely. It's impossible for us to have a chance anymore. I'm so envious. An A-level talent will most definitely be society's ace in the future, an existence that everyone looks up to. Why am I only F-level? 1. Some of the students below the stage were envious, some jealous, and some regretful. When Suching walked down from the stage, they all revealed plastered smiles and congratulated her. Congratulations, congratulations. As expected of the school belle, she will definitely achieve great things in the future. Congratulations, Suching, for awakening an A-level talent. When you become rich in the future, don't forget us old classmates. Suching ignored them and returned to her seat. Lu Yu looked at Suching and frowned slightly. The panel beside Suching showed that it was not an A-level talent. Name, Suching. Talent, Light Affinity. Talent level, S. The host reported that she awakened the holy light of healing, an A-level talent. But, what he saw was another talent. Although it was somewhat similar, it was indeed two different talents. Moreover, it was a scarce S-grade talent. Could it be that the host made a mistake in his report? Or perhaps they were all wrong and did not accurately identify Suching's talent. It seemed that his keen eye's ability was still beneficial. Just as Lu Yu was deep in thought, the awakening ceremony ended. It was the last student's turn. Finally, it was Lu Yu's turn. Everyone's eyes were on Lu Yu, waiting for him to step onto the stage and awaken his innate talent. Lu Yu walked towards the array formation nervously. He had to awaken a high-level talent to repay his aunt's kindness in raising him adequately. Comment. 8 comments. Vote. 2 left. Send gift. Chapter 3, Chapter 3 Letdown, the weakest weapon possible. Translator, Dragon Boat Translation Editor, Dragon Boat Translation. Chapter 3 Letdown, the weakest weapon possible. At the end of the awakening ceremony, it was finally Lu Yu's turn to go on stage. Lu Yu stepped forward and walked toward the stage. Everyone's attention was focused on him, and there was a heated discussion. Lu Yu had always been among the best in his class in terms of cultural studies, with his sports results also excellent. Not only that, Lu Yu was handsome and mature. Everyone knew him as that one excellent student. It's finally Lu Yu's turn. He's so outstanding in every aspect, his awakened talent shouldn't be bad. Of course that's the case. Suching has already awakened an A-level talent, so Lu Yu should at least be a B-lead. I'm so envious. If only I was so outstanding. It seems that in this class, the only one who can match up to Suching is Lu Yu. After that, everyone fell silent, not willing to say anything more. While the crowd was discussing this, Lu Yu had already arrived at the center of the array formation. The array mages controlled the energy in their hands and began the ritual. When they activated the array formation, the array mages closed their eyes to sense the energy. However, they quickly frowned. They couldn't feel any energy fluctuation in Lu Yu's body. Logically speaking, this shouldn't be the case. The array mages opened their eyes. After exchanging glances, they continued the activation of the array formation. They rhythmically gestured with their hands, and the energy flowed throughout the surroundings. Lu Yu noticed the array mages frowning and couldn't help but be even more nervous. If the talent he had awakened was terrible, what should he do then? At that moment, an array mage opened his eyes and stopped moving his hands. He frowned and let out a long sigh. Then, he took out an ancient book, which recorded all the talent ever awakened in the past. Soon, he found Lu Yu's talent. Because it was discreet, he had to flip through the book for a long time before finding it. Claw attack. You can swing your sharp claws to attack the enemy. This was Lu Yu's talent. Its introduction was short and also ordinary. His talent level was only an F. In the ranking of more than 1,000 talents, the claw attack strength was ranked 999. It could be said to be the lowest and most trashy talent. It was even given a nickname, the weakest weapon possible. This talent was useless. It's weak in battle and was also not useful enough to use for any job-related applications. After the host received the results, he faced everyone and announced Lu Yu's talent. Everyone looked at the host anxiously, curious about Lu Yu's talent. Lu Yu's talent is claw attack, and his talent is F level. Once these words were said, the entire hall fell silent. Some students knew the talent of being crowned with the title of the weakest weapon possible. Before the awakening ceremony, they had spent all their time and energy rummaging through the books that recorded all possible talents. They would find a talent they liked and fantasize about the days after they awakened this talent. Never in their wildest dreams did they expect that Lu Yu would awaken such a trash talent. Is this for real? It's actually the talent claw attack. This is too unlucky. I'm feeling much better now. I also have an F-level talent. As expected, most people have F-level talent. He's still stronger than me. I don't have any talent at all. Lu Yu clenched his fists in the center of the ceremony array. He did not expect that he would awaken such a weak talent. This was really a hell of difficulty beginning. It seemed that if he wanted to advance in the future, he had no choice but to evolve. However, evolution was not something that an ordinary person like him could undergo. The current Lu Yu could only take things one step at a time. He stood up and prepared to walk down the awakening ceremony stage. Wait. An array mage suddenly called out to Lu Yu. Vaguely, the array mage seemed to have noticed a difference in Lu Yu's talent. He seemed to have seen another unknown talent with an SSS rank in that instant. He did not realize Lu Yu's talent was claw attack until the ceremony ended. It wasn't that he had forgotten about its existence. Lu Yu's talent was indeed different from the normal claw attack. The array mage rubbed his eyes and looked at Lu Yu again, but found nothing. It seemed like it was indeed claw attack. He must have seen it wrongly. With this thought in mind, the array mage waved his hand and said, "It's nothing. You can go back now." Lu Yu shrugged and didn't say anything else. He walked back into the crowd. The students' lively atmosphere from before became awkward and cold. They all knew Lu Yu's family background. Lu Yu's life would be even more difficult in the future if he didn't awaken a good talent. They all wanted to comfort Lu Yu, but they didn't know what to say. Lu Yu's F-level talent made them lament the gap between the two gifted students in their school. Fate is certainly a cruel mistress. The homeroom teacher looked at Lu Yu, shook his head slightly, and sighed. Suqing and Lu Yu were the two students he had been looking forward to the most. Although Suqing had shocked him, Lu Yu's talent was a regretful one. Before the awakening ceremony, he had always thought that Lu Yu, outstanding in all aspects, would awaken a good talent. But reality slapped him in the face. Class 2's awakening ceremony ended, and the results were reported to the school quickly. In the principal's office, the principal couldn't help but sigh after reading the awakening records. Before the awakening ceremony, they had taken note of the gifted students, and among them, Lu Yu attracted his attention. The school had planned to allocate more resources to these gifted students in the future. And Lu Yu was a talent that they cared about. Now that the results were out, he felt somewhat helpless about the situation. He had no choice but to distribute the resources to other outstanding students. After the ceremony ended, people would come over to comfort Lu Yu on the way back to class. "Lu Yu, don't be discouraged. F level is fine. Most of us are at this level. Although you have put in a lot of effort. Chapter 1, Prologue. I see things others can't. A blazing inferno raged across the capital city that once stood on the continent for thousands of years. Hear things others don't. The sound of war cries, curses, and dying screams spread across the entire city as the invaders mercilessly attacked anything and everything in their path. Shed tears when others won't. The sound of babies and children wailing in their mothers' arms could be heard everywhere, as their parents desperately looked for a safe place to hide in order to save themselves from the one-sided massacre that was happening around them. And fight when others don't. A red-headed boy looked at the vast hordes of monsters that were about to destroy everything he held dear in his life. Even so, he walked towards them fearlessly as several men and women marched alongside him. I seek the monsters you fear the most, the half-elf said softly as he raised his hand, summoning countless undead to fight for his side. I chase the nightmares that plague your sweetest dreams. I walk in the darkness so that others may see the light. I fight the creatures that threaten this world with all my might. A giant bone dragon landed in front of the half-elf and bowed its head in respect. The red-headed boy patted its head before jumping on its back, preparing to fight alongside his undead legion. With one mighty flap of its tattered wings, the bone dragon soared towards the sky and uttered a deafening roar of defiance. Its master stood straight on its back like a sword, looking at the countless monsters that were slowly advancing in his direction. In a world where my existence has long been forgotten, the half-elf stated as his bone dragon opened its mouth to unleash its dragon breath. I will let you know the error of the path you have trodden. Creator's thoughts. Elian. This is my entry for the web novel Spirity Awards 2022. Take part in the journey and experience a world that you've never seen before. Experience feelings that you've never felt before. If you like the story, feel free to shower me with book. Chapter 31, The Bloody Slaughter. Translator, Nuevo Studio Editor. Nuevo Studio. The spirit of the sword that Zhang Chen had mastered was only in its earliest form, but thanks to it, his sword method was already. Chapter 1, A Sickness in the Head. Translator, Lin. In the chaotic darkness, the young Red Zaisu around 14 who was standing at the door. Lai Yuan, did anything happen? Ren Zaisu asked. Addressed as Lai Yuan, the boy's full name was Yan Lai Yuan. From his appearance, Yan Lai Yuan looked like a very harmless and innocent person. However, he was holding a bone knife in his hands and standing guard at the door. It was deep into the night at the moment, but he did not close his eyes even though he looked very sleepy, as he had to keep watch through the night. Yan Lai Yuan shook his head and said, "No, everything is fine." What exactly is the sickness you are experiencing in your head? Even the town's doctor can't diagnose what's wrong with you. You don't have to worry about such things. What I'm experiencing is not a sickness. Ren Zaisu said firmly, it'll be done soon, and I'll be going out to hunt. You should sleep for a while so that you can get up in time for school. Okay. Yan Lai Yuan nodded, glum. But what's the point of studying in a wasteland like this? It will be useful for you in the future, Ren Zaisu said in an irrefutable tone. I want to go out to hunt too. Yan Lai Yuan doubted. Who's going to keep watch at night if something happens to you? Me, who's unconscious. Ren Zaisu stood up and prepared to go fetch water from the town center as it was less dangerous to do so after dawn broke. During the night, it was a lawless land out there. Dark clouds were building up without rest in the cloudy sky. A drop of acid rain eventually fell from above. It got blown about by the strong winds and finally landed in front of Ren Zaisu. Ren Zaisu was lying on the ground in the wilderness. He frowned and felt that he was a little unlucky today as the acid rain arrived before his prey appeared. Someone mentioned that he must be careful of the beasts while moving around in this wasteland. But Ren Zaisu felt that the person left everything else unspoken, because many things could still kill a person out in this wasteland. One of them was the acid rain. However, Ren Zaisu still did not make a move. If he couldn't catch some game today, he and Yan Lai Yuan would starve to death before they could die from the disease caused by the acid rain. Ren Zaisu's eyes popped when he heard a bird's wings flapping. However, the rhythm of his breathing did not change. Ren Zaisu had used a tree branch to prop up a black cauldron and scattered some black breadcrumbs underneath it a short distance ahead of himself. That large bird landed beside the cauldron and looked around sharply with an alert gaze. The size of the bird was not that much smaller than the cauldron, in fact. As it stood in the same spot preening its feathers, Ranziasu did not make a move and continued waiting. The bird finally seemed to let its guard down as it started sneaking towards the cauldron as a thief would. However, when it entered into the boundary under the cauldron and was about to lower its head to peck on the breadcrumbs, Ranziasu pulled hard on the rope in his hand. Right after, the young man jumped up and rushed towards the cauldron like an unbridled wild donkey. Before the large bird could flip the cauldron over, he mustered all of his strength and used his body to pin down the cauldron. Phew! Ranziasu heaved a sigh of relief as he had waited an entire night just to catch this sparrow. Fortunately, his efforts had not gone to waste today, especially since such good opportunities were hard to come by. Clattering came from inside the cauldron as the struggling sparrow battered its tough wings against it. At this moment, the short melody of the bell striking the hour rang from the refugee stronghold. Ranziasu turned around and looked at the town. He wondered when he could finally bring Yan Liuyuan to live inside the stronghold. To Ranziasu, the people living in the stronghold were fortunate because they did not have to face the dangers of the wastelands. However, not just anyone could enter that place as they wished. Right at this moment, the activity in the cauldron quieted by a lot. He let out a sigh and checked if the ragged cloth was wrapped firmly around his hand. Then Ranziasu slowly lifted the cauldron up to create a tiny opening and put his hand in. He attempted to grab hold of the large sparrow by its legs. However, life was not always that smooth sailing. Ranziasu yelped right after putting his hand under the cauldron. Ranziasu pulled out his hand and had a look at his palm. The web between his thumb and forefinger was bleeding, as not even the ragged cloth could protect it against the sparrow's sharp beak. Ranziasu got angry. He removed his ragged jacket and wrapped it around his hand. Then he thrust his hand under the cauldron again and grabbed the sparrow by its neck this time. He took the sparrow out from under the cauldron and tucked it in his arm. With a strong twist of his hand, the sparrow's neck broke and it went limp. At this moment, Ranziasu felt a pinch in his heart because the large sparrow's claws had punched several holes into